Welcome back to Adventures with Rosie.
For the next few nights, we are down by the beach in Bowentown.
Yes. So the first order of business in this adventure is to go and do some biking. Now, we showed you the campground in the last video. We'll probably head down to the beach, although it is starting to cloud over, which is annoying. We got rain on the way towards the end of our holiday as well. But we're going to head up basically inland through Waihi Township. There is a quite beautiful gorge running from Paeroa to Waihi, the Karangahake Gorge, and it has got some really rich mining history in it. It's got a whole lot of old mining remnants, tunnels. You can do a walk called the Windows Walk, where you actually walk through some of the old mines, and there's kind of these cut out stone, like mined windows that let light in. Really neat spot. And there's a biking trail through there, part of the Hauraki Rail Trail. It's an old railway line, so grade 1, really easy biking. So we're going to go and do that. We've got the bikes all loaded up on the back of the car, and then not too sure what else we'll do. Probably check out Waihi. There's a big open pit mine there as well. We'll check that out. So we're going to go biking before this weather turns and it can't figure out what it wants to do. And then I'll probably show you around the campground a bit more. There is also a big hill behind the campground here that was a historic pa site. So Māori pa site, and we'll go over there as well. Might bike up there because it looks like you can get quite a cool sort of view of the campground and Bowentown where we're staying. Alright, well, I'm just hiding out the back of this train station because it's very noisy by the main road there. But this is Waikino, this train station, and there is still a train that runs from Waihi Township to Waikino. And that is the only section of track that's left on this rail trail. Essentially what we do is go over the car park and we are biking on what used to be the railway line. So you can do a little scenic trip. It goes 3 times a day, I think, from Waihi or Waikino. You can also load your bikes in the train and take the train here, unload your bikes and then ride if you want as well. So kind of cool, gives you options. They have like a special trailer on the carriage for bikes, or you can bike from Waihi to Waikino, but it's a bit of a boring bike ride. The exciting bit's that way. So we just got a few scones and sandwiches and things. We're going to load up the kids on the bikes and head that way. I'll chuck the GoPro on and we'll show you a bit of Karangahake Gorge. Alright, so this is the famous Karangahake Rail Tunnel. This tunnel took 5 years to build. Back in 1905 they started, or 1900 to 1905 I think. It is a kilometer long, just over a kilometer long. 1 in 50 gradient, so it is going down slightly. How incredible. A kilometer! So you can bike through it, you can walk through it as well, and there's actually a bridge at each end that crosses the river. So bridge, tunnel, bridge, choice. Should we go through it, Ruby? That's Piper. Time for another bridge. Well, that tunnel was pretty cool. Quite amazing. There is enough light in there. I didn't have a torch. And I gave the torch to Piper behind me, who just shone it everywhere. But you can get through without a torch. You can walk through as well. There are people walking through. You can park, basically cross a bridge and walk through it if you don't want to do the biking, which is cool. So this is the main area of Karangahake Gorge. Huge house was here once upon a time, a big battery. They mined all up in these valleys behind me, and there are some seriously cool walks here that aren't too hard, but at the moment they're shut. So there is a walk called the Windows Walk, which takes you up through some old mine shafts, all these tunnels going into the cliffs that had these cutout windows so they let light in, and you used to be able to go through them. There is some sort of geological slip or crack or some reason they've shut them down at the moment, which is a shame. There's also an underground pump house up here you can go into. Literally follow tracks down underground past old mine carts still on their rails to a pump house, but that is a little bit further than the Windows Walk, and it looks like that's shut as well. So we'll go over and have a little look around. It's a shame because I'd love to show you guys that, but we shall see. This place is just littered with old remnants of the mining history. There was a huge stamping battery here that went right down to the water where they'd process the rock to get the gold out, and then later they switched to using a cyanide to extract them, and then just dumped all that cyanide into the river, the beautiful river there. So yeah, pretty amazing though. Choo choo! There are these amazing barred doors that just lead into tunnels going who knows where. Looks like some kids have climbed around, or maybe adults have climbed around this one, but I'd love to go exploring in there. So the old Windows Walk was in fact shut, which is a bit of a shame. That is a cool walk. Then crosses over the river and comes back down the other side, and you see plenty of tunnels and things, but yeah, apparently it looks like it's falling down from, we looked inside the tunnel and you can see these beams holding rock up, so maybe in the future it'll be reopened. I think what I need to do is invest in a decent light for the camera and come back here without kids sometime. Maybe find a buddy who's into tunneling, but there are maps of all the tunnels and mine shafts all through these hills, so I bet not all of them are fenced off. You can probably explore some of them, maybe a little sketchy, but I'd love to do it. Hopefully you can hear me over the road noise, but this giant structure behind me is one of the cyanide plants. This is the Victoria Battery, they called it, and all of these hexagonal shapes had a big steel cone tank thing that they used to separate the gold from the quartz, and so all of these would have been filled with cyanide. It is huge. Check out the scale of this. So apparently it was one of the biggest in the country at its time operation, one of the largest commercial cyanide extraction operations. I just saw this random structure on top of the hill and biked up here, and these are the old ore kilns. So they used to burn the ore, cook the ore before they did the cyanide. Someone's built this roof, I guess, over these to preserve these massive kilns that are lined with bricks. Check that out. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that is massive. Underneath that are tunnels apparently that go out, that they had carts on rails that went out under here, but there's 5 big kilns in this building. They're amazing, look. So that bike trip we did today was about 8 kilometers each way, so 16 kilometers all up. Pretty cruisy, like I said earlier. I think it's a grade 1, easy going, but it was good for Harvey and his little legs. I think he did well. That was a new bike as well, and it's got a bigger tire, so yeah, good bike trip. It's well worth doing that little stretch we did. You can go much further either side of it as well if you're keen to do more. We're just going to check out Waihi town now, little township here. There's a big mine here we're going to have a look at. I know, another mine, and just have a look around and then back to the caravan for a beer. I think one more mine, last one for the day. This is the Martha mine, open pit mine, which is actually an active mine, or part of it is. I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's a giant slip there which happened some years ago, and they stopped the open pit mining, below this mine there are 175 kilometers of tunnels, and they are mining silver and gold here basically. Pretty amazing. I'd love to come here and see this sort of thing back in the day when it was actually running, but yeah, it's closed for now. There is apparently future projects to open it up, so kind of interesting. This is literally like 5-minute walk from the main town here, Waihi. Massive mine. So unfortunately the weather has turned. It's now raining. We were on the beach this morning in the sun and now rain. The joys of spring camping. One thing I don't think I mentioned earlier is this campground Offpeak is dog friendly. So you can bring your dog here, which is pretty cool. Looks like a bunch of the sort of permanent cabins that people have here. Seems like some of them have dogs that they bring, and yeah, so you can't, in the peak of summer you can't bring dogs, but Offpeak you can, so pretty good. So we're going to go for a wander in the rain, take this guy out for a wee, and I think we're just going to play cards tonight. Thankfully Chelsea's parents' motorhome has a big U-shaped lounge in the back that all of us can get around, all 10 of us can get around, so it's a good spot just to play cards, sit inside and enjoy our last night. It came down even harder just after I turned the camera off then, and that little dog did not want to go to the toilet. I'm mad at you. Yeah, you down there. Speaking of checking out and it being our last day, one cool thing about this campground, and this campground's been ticking a lot of boxes for me. Nice little cafe, tick. Ocean, tick. There is a late checkout here on a Sunday. So normally checkouts at campgrounds is probably 10 o'clock, and sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch to like get everyone up and fed and hooked up and have a last play on the playground and get out the door. Here they let you check out at 11 on a Sunday, so give you an extra hour, so I'm happy about that. It's a cool campground. I've enjoyed our time here. I think maybe the only thing is that it's a little small in terms of narrow like access into sites. There's big trees. There are like 4 sites around us that are empty at the moment, and I think if they were full of like tents, if it was the middle of summer, I don't know how we'd get the caravan in here. We kind of just lucked out and came, and there was no one here. We pulled straight in, and tomorrow we should just be able to get straight out because Chelsea's parents are in front of us. But if there were people staying over this side and cars and tents and ropes and awnings and all sorts, I don't know if we'd get out. So you'd probably come early in the summer, I'd say, and stay for the break, right? Set up and stay. But yeah, decent campground. Nice part of the world for sure.